Hi, I'm Kristie from Wisconsin Valley Library Service. In today's Digital Byte, we will be talking about evaluating resources. It is crucial to thoroughly evaluate resources for our own use or when sharing resources with patrons. Accurate resources help reduce the spread of misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation involves sharing false information unknowingly, while disinformation is the intentional spread of false information with the intent to deceive people. By providing accurate information, libraries can enhance user experiences, demonstrate their positive impact, and promote themselves as a trusted community resource. There are several methods to use when evaluating resources. The primary theme across all methods is to ask questions and dig deeper to confirm the accuracy of the specific resource. Especially in the online world, it is very easy to spread fake news and inaccurate information. One method to evaluate resources is called the CRAP test. In 2004, Sarah Blakesley, a librarian at California State University, developed the CRAP test. The acronym was created when she was designing a workshop for first-year instructors and struggled to recall how to evaluate various sources. She aimed to offer students a straightforward method for determining the credibility of sources. CRAP stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. The CRAP test functions as a checklist to assess the trustworthiness of a source of information. It is applicable to both print and online resources. So let's take a closer look at each component. Currency involves evaluating the timeliness of the information in the source. When assessing a resource for currency, consider asking yourself the following questions. When was this information published or posted? Has the information been revised or updated? Is the information current or outdated for this particular topic? Specifically for online resources, check to make sure that all links listed are functional. Relevance involves assessing the importance of information for your needs. When assessing a resource for relevance, consider the following questions. Does the information relate to your topic or answer your question? Who is the intended audience? Is the information at an appropriate level, meaning neither too basic nor too advanced for the need? Have you consulted a variety of sources before deciding to use this specific one? And would you feel comfortable using this source for a research paper? Authority involves assessing the source of the information. When evaluating a resource for authority, ask yourself, who is the author, publisher, source, or sponsor? Are the author's credentials or organizational affiliations given? If so, what are those? What are the author's qualifications to write on this particular topic? Is there contact information available, such as for the publisher or an email address to follow up with? For online resources, does the URL reveal anything about the author or source? For example, websites ending in .gov indicate it's from a nonprofit organization. Those ending in .gov signify the information is from the U.S. government. Accuracy is about checking the reliability, truthfulness, and correctness of the content. When you're assessing a resource for accuracy, ask yourself these questions. Where is this information from? Is there evidence supporting this information? Has this information been reviewed? Can you verify any of the information from another source or from personal knowledge? Is the language or tone biased or free of emotion? Are there any spelling, grammar, or other typographical errors? The purpose of evaluating resources is to understand why the information was created. When assessing the purpose of a resource, ask yourself, what is the main goal of the information? Is it to inform, educate, sell, entertain, or persuade? Do the authors clearly state their intentions or purpose? Is the information based on facts, opinions, or propaganda? Does the perspective seem unbiased or impartial? Are there any political, ideological, cultural, religious, institutional, or personal biases in this particular resource? There are various CRAP test checklists and rubrics available online. Using one of these can be helpful to you while you're evaluating a resource. This one is nice because it automatically tallies points for each criteria of the CRAP test and helps you to decide whether a resource is suitable or questionable. There will be a link to this at the end of the slideshow. Another method for evaluating resources is called SIFT. Mike Caulfield, a digital literacy expert and faculty member at Washington State University, developed the SIFT method to help determine the reliability and credibility of online sources. SIFT is an acronym for a series of steps based on the approach used by professional fact checkers. The steps in SIFT are stop, investigate the source, find better coverage, and trace claims, quotes, and media. The SIFT method serves as a set of guidelines to assess the trustworthiness of information sources. It was specifically designed for online sources, but can also be used for print sources. And let's take a look at each step more closely. The SIFT method starts by pausing and stopping as soon as you come across a resource. Before you read the full article, share the video, or act on a strong emotional response to a headline, pause. Ask yourself, do you know this website? Do you know the source of information? Do I know its reputation? After considering these questions, then move on to the next step, which is to investigate the source for credibility. Take the time to research the author and the publishing information. You can ask yourself, what can you find out about the author or website creators? What is their mission? Do they have vested interests? And would their assessment be biased? Do they have authority in this particular area? Look beyond the About Us section on an organization's website and see what other trusted sources have to say about this particular source. Another technique for online sources is hovering over links to learn more about who is sharing the information, especially when using social media platforms. When you hover, ask yourself if this source is credible enough to share without any further checking, or does digging deeper make sense? It's important to hover every time that you see links, and not just when you're suspicious that the information may be inaccurate, because some fake information can be very convincing. After further investigating the resource, try to find better coverage or other sources that may or may not support the original claim. Look for other sources that confirm the same information you're looking at, or even those that dispute it. Try to find what coverage is available on this particular topic while using trusted news sources in the process. Many times, fact checkers have already looked into claims. These fact checkers are often nonpartisan, nonprofit websites that try to increase public knowledge and understanding by checking claims to see if they are based on fact or if they are biased or not supported by evidence. Examples include factcheck.org and the Washington Post Fact Checker. The final step in the SIFT method is to trace claims, quotes, and media to their original context. Whenever an article mentions a quote from an expert or cites results from a research study, it's important to locate the original source of that information. Click on the links to find the original source of the information if there are links in the article. If available, refer to the original reporting sources that might be listed in a bibliography or other notes in your source. Ask yourself, is the claim, quote, or media fairly represented? Does the extracted information support the original claims in the research? Has there been cherry picking of information to support an agenda or a bias? Has the information been taken out of context? Keep in mind that headlines, blog posts, or tweets often exaggerate facts to gain attention or clicks. Sometimes when re-reported, information can be omitted, misinterpreted, or selectively presented to support biased claims. If the claim is derived from a secondary source, vital facts and contextual information might be overlooked. Always ensure by reading the claims in the original context in which they were represented. Here are several additional red flags to consider when evaluating resources. Resources that don't cite their sources or have adequate ones for the topic. This could be a red flag that the information is not as accurate as possible. Emotional language or headlines or images that evoke strong emotions are often red flags of exaggerated content. Information that has been cross-posted through many platforms can many times change from the original source of information. Memes are often considered red flags, as well as information and sources being labeled as breaking news. Again, that's an effort to have us respond emotionally and quickly to the information that is presented. And we do want to stop and slow down and pause and consider the information and the source it's coming from. Here are a number of sources that were used in putting this information together. And I hope you have found this Digital Byte helpful and gives you some information about evaluating resources. Thank you.